is Google on Business Doctor channel. We are going to discuss about decision making techniques today, and let's get there right away. I'm not sure whether you notice this phenomenon when you are dealing with children. If you try to have a chocolate, obviously the child would like to pick it up from you, or rather snatch it from you. Suppose you have different types of chocolates, for example, or it may be a sweet. Then initially the child will pluck it from you. Then it will start wondering whether to eat the first one or the second one or the third one as it sees the other things. So what will happen is that the child will be totally confused and it won't be in a position to even eat the first one. This is problem of plenty, and we are not going to discuss about that now, but we are going to discuss about the decision making techniques. There are two techniques which I want to share with you today. One is the 37% rule, which is based on options. The second one is the confusion matrix, which is based on the classification. So what are these options and classifications? Let's first see that. Options are the 100 things which you can do. You can take the first route, you can take the second route, or this is better, that is better, like that. You can traverse from one to other, and whichever is the option that is best suited to reach your goal. Suppose there are 100 options available for you to reach that particular goal, or maybe steps, or if you break that out and it comes to a few steps. Suppose there are multiple options to execute for you. Then how do you decide the right one for you? The mathematical models based on the scientists and researchers, what they have done is remove the first 37 out of that lot and choose the best within that 37. Try to benchmark it and move on from 38, 39 till you see the next one which is better than what you have already identified. Then if that is better, then take that as the base and go further up till you exhaust all the 100. In between, if you come across the best ones, you take that as the base benchmark. You are not expected to revisit all the things which you have already crossed by once you have taken the decision. Okay, so that is the principle behind this 37% rule, and there are mathematical models available to identify why this 37 is so important, that you can search in the internet for yourself. So what will happen is that in the process you are trying to maximize the probability of succeeding that particular task or the particular activity so that you reach your goal faster. But here there is also a catch. The catch is this: you can't take too much of time, too much within code for that matter, of time to decide what is the first 37 or traversing between 38 and 100, because that will take away the time delay. When I say that time delay will take away some of the options from you without you even knowing it or recognizing it. So we discussed when in the strategy session, we discussed that strategy always goes with the time. So the same logic applies here, that options should be available to you for execution within that time space. And also you need to remember that when you are going to choose, for example, when you are going to hire some CEO of an organization, the number of CEOs are few lakhs across billions of population in the country. Whereas if you are going to choose between five different options between these courses or between these companies, then the numbers which are or the options available are very small. Again, there is a mathematical model available to you, which you can again search, is based on law of large numbers and law of small numbers. The way you deal with the large numbers is different, the way you deal with small numbers is different. So choosing the options and executing that within the time frame, whatever that is best suited for you, that is very critical in reaching your goal. So by this way, you can have a good decision making process to reach your goal. The second one is on the classification model, which is when you say classification, the classification is like, for example, when somebody says that that person is tall, or that person is short, or that person is aged, or is younger, or older. What are you trying to do here is that you are making an observation on the height of the person or the age of the person, and you qualify that with a value. The value can be numerical or it can be non-numerical also. For that matter, you can say that that guy is good guy or that guy is a bad guy, for example. So the good and bad, or when you say that no, there is the complexity involved in a particular project may be high or medium or low. That's our standard industry practice. Here, the classification is based on a non-numeric values, like high, medium, low. So these observations, what is going to create in you is nothing but confusion. You will be confused whether you are good enough at that level or better at something, or will be worse, slightly below. So how do you solve this problem? So you will get a confusion, and before you decide, you need to remove the confusion. So for example, you are a tennis player and you have practiced an art of ace, but you also need to know how your opponent is going to respond to that ace, or the service for that matter. So if you can't defend that return from your opponent on your service, then again you are going to be doomed. So you need to know how do you hold your racket position, where do you stand near the base or closer to your nets, whether you need to be in the center of the court. Again, that is based on your height and the way the force which you can exercise on the ball with your racket. So there are so many parameters, the observable values, like the force, how closer you are, what is your height, whether you are going to be at the center of the court or from center, how farther you towards base or how closer to the net. So there are so many observations which you need to classify, and then you need to apply this. So what will happen? So today you played that serve, and that guy didn't do that, so it is an ace for you, so you won the match or won the set or won the game. So you make a note, so that is a positive outcome. The second case, you think that you will hit a ace like this, but actually that guy was able to return and it is not an ace. So what happens? That's a negative, and you assume that that guy won't pick up, but that guy has really picked it up and you failed, and not returning the return from the opponent. So there is a false sense of hope, so which is like false negative. You assume that for a shot the other guy won't pick up or you will return the best way is possible, but possibly that guy would have fumbled it also. So that is a false positive. Or so like that, you have to classify all your outcomes based on whether historically that it was actual, and tomorrow when you are going to play the match, you are going to basically predict how the opponent is going to play for this kind of a thing. This is not only in sports, this is how the industry works with respect to facing the competition, or even in politics. That's how people play the cards. So everything, you make it on an observable, and you measure the outcomes, and you decide whether it was a actual or it's a prediction. Then you decide whether it is a true positive or true negative, or it's a false positive or false negative. So in either of these cases, you need to be really, really careful, because in medical terms, for example, a false negative is a danger to your life, whereas it's a false positive, probably you can ignore. Okay, whereas if it is a true positive, then again it's a cause of concern, whereas true negative, absolutely, you're clear of that particular disease or the problem. So this confusion matrix, by jotting it out on each of these observations and monitoring it, will help you to decide whether you are able to reach your goal in the way you want it or not. Because why we are doing all these things? We have a doubt. The doubt is, if I do this today, whether my opponent is going to give me the return in the way I want it, or is he going to apply some different techniques? In that case, if I am going to lose. So in your career, in your growth, or in your goal, you will be encountering a lot of such things. Even on a personal things, like you have a confusion, like whether you switched off your lights, or whether you have locked the door yesterday, whether you are going to lock it tomorrow. What is the probability that you will lock the door tomorrow? Or whether you switched off your lights, or switched off your gas, or what is that you have locked your car, or you leave it open. So or even it may be your mobile phone. What is the probability that you are going to lose it? So this is a sense of a classification based on your past and future, and you can apply these techniques, okay, this confusion matrix as well as the 37% rule, and you can lead your life without doubts, of course, and you can carry on in reaching your goals. Some of the examples just I want to leave you with are, you will be flooded with mails on a day-to-day basis. How do you know that this particular mail is not from my boss, or is it from a spam? Or how do you know that the genuine mail has not gone to a spam folder? What is that? And so you need to apply, right? So there is a confusion. You will say sorry to your boss, sorry, I didn't look at it. That is why these reminders come in, so that automatically your mind is tuned to that kind of a reminders, so that you can take a better decision to look at what kind of mails you want to open. So there is another example which I want to leave you with is like you buy a lot of things from e-commerce site, and when you buy something, the e-commerce site is able to give you a recommended product or similarly bought products, and there is a ranking also among these things. How are they able to do that? Because they were able to predict these models. Okay, they also have the same confusion like you as an individual. Okay, then they will think that, okay, if you do this, then there is a possibility you will also do this. So they remove this confusion, and mathematically they work out what best suits for you, and they apply some algorithms and come out with a e-commerce site, that kind of a product for you. So what I want to leave you with is that don't have any doubts. If you are having any doubts or confusion, apply this technique, and at the same time, when you are going to have options, then follow this kind of 37% rule kind of a technique, so that you can choose the best option, what you can do within your life, so that you can reach your goal faster. Thank you for watching this. I'll see you in a week's time. Until then, this is Gokul. Have a nice time. Cheers. Bye.